Today, I'd like to talk about some misconceptions that people have about buying a franchise or even exploring franchise business ownership. And the first one is that it's just French fries, pizza, subs, or fitness. There are a whole lot. There are about 3,800 different franchises out there, from education to sports to home services, B2B, all different kinds of things like that. So sometimes you just don't realize what's out there unless you would take a moment to explore. A lot of people also think that buying a franchise is a magic bullet. I'm going to get everything and I'm going to just do well and I won't have to work hard. Really, business ownership is hard. It's just as hard as working for corporate America. It's just that the difference is that it's yours. There is no magic bullet because it's personal. It's you and how much effort are you going to put into that business. Then the other misconception is I should just look at a list. A lot of the magazines or whatever have the top 100 list. And many people don't realize that they pay to be on that list. The top 100 list is not the be all end all. You really want to understand, what is the role of the owner? That's what working with a franchise consultant is going to help you do, is understand what the role of the owner is, so that that's what you're looking at, not some top 100 list that somebody paid to be there. So, and that there's a predetermined ROI. You will see when you look at the franchise disclosure document that many times they have the top 20%, the middle 60%, and the bottom 20%. That will tell you that some people are successful and some people aren't successful. You need to find out why. One of the reasons why is because, again, business ownership is very personal. And so you need to find out what is going to work for you. One of the things as a franchise consultant that I do is start really at the bottom. Pretend like this is a blank canvas. And you have the opportunity to say, in my life, the things that I would like, first, what are your goals and when do you want to meet them? And in thinking about your goals for business ownership, sure, it's about money, but it's not just about money. It's about, do you want to create a legacy for your family where your children may be able to take over the business? Or is it, do you just want to replace the income that you were making and knowing that you don't have to worry about, getting downsized again? Or do you want to go big and own 10, different units of something, or 5 is something and 5 is something else? But really to kind of just think about, what do you want in your life? The other thing is, how much freedom do you want in that business? There are different kinds of businesses. Some are what we call semi-involved, which means that it's going to be about 20 hours a week. You're going to be managing manager. And some are, what is called owner-operator, where you could keep your day job and go into the into a franchise and manage a manager. Or maybe you're 60 and you're not ready to retire, and you would like to manage the manager because you still want the freedom and the flexibility of being retired. Let's face it, you've worked hard all these years. The other thing that we talk about is skills. What are your skills, the top things that you enjoy? Sales? Is it operations? Or is it management? We all have our strengths. So, something in sales, everybody says they don't like sales, but that's because they think it's going knocking on doors. And it's not a knock on door, or it could be, but sales is really that kind of person that enjoys talking to people. Myself, if you'd asked me 14 years ago if I enjoyed sales, I would say no. And I would still say no today, because really there's consultative selling, there's relational selling, and there is the competitive selling. And I'm more of a consultative kind of person, and most of the franchises, that's the kind of person that they're looking for. When you're talking about operations, you're talking about a lot of moving parts. So have you been in the ops world? and you like all of those moving parts, there's a lot of franchises that need somebody like that, somebody that can make sure that all the pieces, parts are getting to the home when they need to get to the home or to the business or whatever. It's kind of like that roofing kind of franchise. Even pet grooming, making sure that, all the logistics are taken care of. And then management is the third thing. And when I think about management, I think about managing people. Is that, some people really thrive on building teams, helping people grow, and managing them. So things like home health care, where you're going to need a lot of people. That's one of many different great opportunities for people that are looking at going into franchise business ownership. A lot of times too, you have to think about, who do you want to serve? If you've been in the B2B realm, you may not feel comfortable switching over to the B2C, B2B, business to business, B2C, business to consumer. And if you've been in the business to consumer world, you may not feel comfortable going over to the B2B. So you would want to make sure that you don't go into things that are completely out of your comfort zone. Maybe something that has a mix of 50-50. So the other thing is location. A lot of people don't think about location. I don't want to go to work really much farther than 30 minutes from my house. I know that that's probably silly, but that's just how I am. You may not care. You may not care if you drive 45 minutes or 60 minutes. But the other thing is, there's kind of three places that you could be. In a retail establishment, you could be in a mobile type of business, or you could be at a work from home business. So, again, what does this canvas, when you're thinking and reflecting about yourself, these are all reflections you should make, even if you were going back to corporate America, so that you're not settling for less. We don't have to. There's many choices out there. Another thing that you want to think about is room for growth. Sometimes some of the franchises that have been very popular, there isn't much space left. And you might just want to start with one or two. So maybe that might not be a good fit. If you're good with just one unit, then it's a perfect fit. The other thing that you might want to think about is budget. Not think about, you must know how much money you're willing to invest. A lot of people don't think about that. And if you're going for an SBA loan, typically you need to have about 20 to 30% down. And so if you're looking at a $100,000 franchise, you need to have about $20,000 to $30,000 injection into cash injection, and you can borrow the rest if you're willing to, follow all of their rules. A lot of people don't realize that you could fund your business using your 401k, and it's called a ROBS. You need to use a professional, and a lot of people lately are using what's called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. It's a very simple thing to do, and the SBA. So what I recommend is really kind of think about those things. That is one of the things that my entrepreneur profile will help you think about that you hadn't thought about. Again, when I talk about people that you want to work with, if you have a education type business, you're going to be working with parents. Have you thought about that? Is that okay? Or if you're working in a home health care business, you're really going to be working with the kids of those parents. So one of the things that I recommend is taking our entrepreneur profile. It'll help you kind of think about things that you haven't thought about. And then when we sit down, we will talk about all of the things that we learned. Another important thing is that, when you're doing due diligence, you get to talk to the franchisees. Do you resonate with those people? Because we're looking for culture too. You want to look at a place where you're going to feel like you fit in. A lot of times we took a job because it was offered to us. It didn't really matter who was working there or wasn't working there. You have the opportunity to really build something of your own, build your own culture, people that you want to work with and enjoy. It doesn't cost anything to explore, and I am happy to help you do the exploration. It is a learning journey, not a buying journey.